Good. In the sheet of paper I just gave you, you have a Toastmasters promise. A promise. Now, you guys may feel a little bit like you're in a cult right now. Promise. But you need to remember that Toastmasters is a US-based organization. And this is a very Anglo-Saxon way of listing all the things that we as members should do in order to enhance the overall organization. But following these principles, these steps will not only enhance Toastmasters organization as a whole, but it also will enhance the club and it will enhance your own experience of personal growth with us. So let's go quickly over the list. To attend club meetings regularly. Well, meetings are the basis of this program, so I guess this one's pretty straightforward. To prepare the speeches, we'll get back to that one in a minute. To prepare for and fulfill meeting assignments. This means take roles such as Toastmaster of the Day or Timekeeper. To provide fellow members with helpful, constructive evaluation. I think that at this point, you have all realized the value of evaluations within the learning process, right? To help the club maintain the positive, friendly environment necessary for all members to learn and grow. If we are supportive with each other, nobody will step up here on the Liberty Icebreaker. To serve as an officer when called upon to do so. Guys, these colorful meetings don't just happen. The club officers make them happen with the help of the Toastmaster of the Day. Soon enough, Sandra will be coming after you, requesting your participation in the club committee for the 5th season of HB Barcelona Toastmasters, beginning in July. Even if this is a voluntary thing to do, this is leadership opportunities are great because if you want to hone your leadership, it's a great opportunity and it's a capstone position for the club. To treat my fellow club members and our guests with respect and courtesy. Well, that's something every person should do, not only Toastmasters. Anyway, to bring guests to our club meetings so they can see the benefits Toastmasters membership offers, i.e. spread the word. To adhere to the guidelines and rules of all Toastmasters educational and recognition programs. This means, for example, don't say in your resume that you have a competent communicator if you have not completed all 10 speeches. And finally, to maintain honest and highly ethical standards during the conduct of all Toastmasters activities. Well, this means, for example, that your speech needs to be authentic. Don't copy the speech from someone else. Now, back to point 2. How to prepare a good speech. There are loads of different answers. Today, you'll hear mine. Just with the evaluations, I'm going to talk in my own behalf, based on my own experience. So what you're going to hear is the result of over 2 years delivering speeches. Anyway, here we go. How to prepare a speech. First of all, you need to have a pool of speech topics. What makes a good speech topic? A topic that matters to you and to your audience. For example, in my list of speech topics, I have the chair trick, which is a trick that I improvised in one of my speeches, and it really helped me get my ideas across. For this reason, it matters to me. And at the same time, I think it can be very helpful for you guys, which is why I'll give you all the details in an upcoming speech, coming soon. But all these ideas don't just come out of a blank sheet of paper. As a matter of fact, these ideas will probably come to you when you're jogging or commuting. It's a good thing that modern technology allows us to capture them easily. Second, look at the constraints. This is a problem-solving technique that I use quite a lot in my life. Look at the externalities and find the boundaries that would leave out potential solutions of the problem, so as the scope of the problem is narrower. What could be the externalities, the boundaries for a Toastmasters speech? A boundary could be, for example, the project number, which is the objective for your speech. Is it voice tone? Is it body language? Is it speech structure? Another boundary would be the audience. Who is my audience? Will they care about this or that particular topic? Another boundary could be the meeting theme. The meeting theme is the theme that we set up for the meeting, so you need to see if your speech is in line with the rest of the speeches with the theme of the meeting. You can ask that to the Toastmaster of the day normally. For example, for this particular speech, how to prepare a speech was in my list of speech topics, so I looked at the constraints. Project number. Well, because I'm in the advanced stages of the program, I get to choose which project to deliver from which manual. So I kind of cheated a little bit here, and I chose my speech topic, how to prepare a speech, before choosing the project, which in this case is keeping the commitment. Anyway, what about the audience and the meeting theme? Do you guys care about this? Are you interested in learning how to prepare a speech?
Yes.
I thought so. Good. Third. Now that we have the main idea, it's time to brainstorm the content. What sub-ideas are we going to use? What examples are we going to add so as to support the main idea? How are you going to begin your speech? How are you going to end your speech? In order to get all this information, I normally use a brainstorming technique called free writing, which basically means writing down everything that comes to your mind. The ideas can be expressed in 1, 2 words, or even in full paragraphs. For example, for today's speech, it took me only 15 minutes to brainstorm the whole content, because this is a topic that I love, and a topic that I consider myself good at. Next step. Take all this content and structure it in a way that makes sense. Some of the ideas you wrote down may just not go with the flow of the speech and will have to be removed. Other ideas will go with the flow of the speech, but will have to be removed as well due to the lack of time. If you did the former steps on your computer with a word processing application, now you can just drag and drop the ideas back and forth, organize them properly with the mouse. For example, I decided to organize my speech today in 2 main blocks: a Toastmasters promise and how to prepare a speech. The details about a Toastmasters promise, you have all of them in the flyer I passed you at the beginning, and the details about my second block of the speech will be in the flyer that I'll give you at the end. Fifth, take a stopwatch and read your speech aloud. Polish your content as you speak. Polish your content as you read the speech. And remove all the ideas that are not necessary to support the main idea and that make it your speech go over time. If you feel that time allows for more content, you have to think where to add these small details, but never add new central ideas at this stage. For example, when preparing this speech, I realized that it was too short. So I decided to add certain examples to support all of my points. So every time that you heard today the expression, for example, that wasn't in the initial version of the speech. I repeat this step as many times as I need until it feels perfect, until the speech feels perfect. Perfect to me anyway. Six, I rehearse the speech a zillion times. Practicing visual aids, voice tone, pauses, and everything that you need to, everything just exactly as it will be in the room. If you have a PowerPoint to present, do the practice with the PowerPoint passing on the slides. If you have a whiteboard, have a sheet of paper next to you or something and write the things as you would write in the final presentation, as realistic as possible. I only stop practicing when I've memorized the entire speech and I feel comfortable with its delivery. And that's pretty much it. I have nothing to add at this point. I only want to enforce that this is how I prepare my speeches. There's absolutely no need for you to do it in the same way. For example, some people may tell you that memorizing your speech is not a good thing to do, and you should kind of improvise some parts. But I've realized that this is the technique that works best for me. So, call to action to you new members, try out this technique in your first speeches, but make sure that eventually you find the technique that works best for you. And because this was an educational session, now I will open for questions.
What do you do when you forget something?
Just smile like you mean
Then
it.
you need
Go ahead.
Do you memorize your body language? So
That's
do you
wonderful.
prepare your body language?
It memorizes automatically. If you practicing the body language and the gestures, they will come out automatically in the end. So, yeah.
And the same for the voice, the change of voices, the level of the voice.
Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. If the speech and voice shifting is really supporting what you're saying, you should practice that as well and should memorize it as well. For example, if you want to differentiate between important ideas and details, you want to practice this voice shift and deliver it in the stage.
Your method sounds quite elaborate to me. I mean, I think you need a lot of time to go through this whole process. Do you do exactly the same thing if you don't have a lot of time to practice your speech? If somebody comes and says, Aris, give a speech tomorrow, please, would you still use the same process or do you tweak it a little bit?
I still use the same process, and it takes much more time to explain than to actually do. Once you have some experience, I have delivered some speeches. What I do is I reduce the practice part because I don't have that much time for practice. So instead of a zillion times, I may practice 5 or 10 times. So Axel is telling us that we ran out of time. So I think if you have further questions, just come to me during the lunchtime or anytime. I'll be more than happy to answer to them. Thank you for your time.